Mythos Busters, investigating the mystery, monsters, and madness of Arkham Horror, the card game.
Hello and welcome to episode 86 of Mythos Busters. I'm Sean, and joining me on this Wednesday night that feels like a Friday night for some reason? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I've had a weird week. Joining me tonight is Nick. Hey, Nick.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well.
Friday, Wednesday night.
I am also, my week is also thrown off. I have recently gone to 3-day weekends, which I know, yay me, just because my schedule is so weird at work. But that has thrown off my weeks so crazily. Like, I have no idea what day it is anymore.
Yeah, that was kind of my experience when, I worked from home before quarantine, but there was structure. Like, we went out and did things and saw people. And then quarantine hit. It's like, why is every day Tuesday now?
Yes. That is the feeling. Yeah, why is every day Tuesday is a good way to summarize
it. Joining us as well tonight, as you heard, is Ian. Hey, Ian.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. Just trying to make it to the other side of 2020. We're halfway through, so let's see if we can make it to 2021.
I'm just kind of pushing off the future in any way I can at this point. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
That is probably a good policy at this point.
It's probably going to get worse before it gets better, because it's 2020.
Yeah.
Not with us tonight is Scott. He is out for Canadian Independence Day. Is that a thing that they celebrate?
I guess so.
Canada's?
But it's on a Wednesday, so I mean.
But did they bludgeon the Empire with freedom as well? Does it?
I think they just asked and then later apologized for it.
I feel like the Canadian departure from the Empire was way more cordial.
It was a strongly worded letter.
It's like, can we leave? Sorry, we want to leave.
Which I also realized ours was a strongly worded letter, but we followed that up.
Yeah.
Okay, you can leave, but only if you keep the queen on your currency. All right, and we've got a fun episode for you guys tonight. We're going to get through some cool updates on some fun stuff that is afoot. And then we're going to crack into our discussion topic tonight, which is starting to close up the Dream Eaters cycle. We're going to talk about where the gods dwell and all the player cards and encounter cards and nonsense that went with it. And then, of course, we'll round it out with some tentacle time. But ere we do any of that, I want to check in with you guys. How's your Arkham been? Ian, what you got going on?
Oh, well, I'm trying to think of what the main Arkham I've been playing is, in addition to continuing the Abandoned and Alone series, which I'm up to, where am I? Just finished Pellet Mask, highly recommended, but I think every time I hit the record button on a recording, my luck just gets shot to hell. So if anyone knows any good curse removals, I'd appreciate that. But other than that,
it's much the same thing where you can't get your computer to do the thing it was doing when the IT guy shows up.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how it works, but other than that, I finally gave a try to good old Dexter Drake. Now that the novella finally was shipped and came to me. So I have a Dex and Rex campaign going, as I've titled it.
That's
Dexter
fun.
Drake and Rex. And Dexter is... I don't know if I'm necessarily doing anything too crazy. We're talking about it's a fairly straightforward Rex build. Well, I guess except for I should say that I'm building him as like a attack mage form. Since Rex is the partner.
What? Record scratch? Attack mage Rex?
Dexter. Attack mage Dexter.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I heard Rex at some point.
I also thought he was talking about Rex, so I was like, wait, how do you do that?
Yeah, that would be...
Okay.
I mean, it's technically possible, but...
You're riding high on that Ashcan mage build, and you just decided what's less likely to work.
Yeah, it's...
I mean, honestly...
because I have Rex as the cleaver, I'm basically just tilting Dexter towards attack mage. So he has all the attack spells you might expect, and all the attack spells like Spectral Razor and Storm of Spirits. So far it's working out well, and I'm pretty impressed with Dexter's abilities so far. Like, it's
pretty good.
Yeah, just the ability to think on his feet, and because it's like a free trigger, you're not triggering that attack of opportunity. It's come in pretty handy in quite a few occasions. Because I think when I first looked at it, I was like, you have to give up an asset. Like, assets are so important, but like your rig kind of evolves throughout the game too. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, I had what was the card I had that I got rid of? I'm trying to think of the example. I had an asset out. Maybe it was like Fine Clothes or a spell, but basically I was getting towards the end of the scenario and had to take on the boss, so I just discarded that and got a Holy Rosary out to beef up my will for the final showdown. So just those little examples are good. Like, I think there's a lot of ways that he can kind of flexibly adapt, which is cool. Mm-hmm. And then I hadn't played Rex in a long time, so I decided to go very weird with Rex, because if you
Attack Mage Rex?
Not quite that. Well, maybe it is that weird. Maybe it's even stranger.
I hear it's the hot shit right now. It's the new build. Everyone's talking about it.
Now someone is going to go build the Attack Mage Rex.
Please. Just untaboo higher ed, and there you go.
This is potentially wonky because I have found another deck to put Joey the Rat in. This is Joey the Rat Rex deck. I found a reason to put him in, so I didn't want to build Vanilla Rex because it's boring, but...
You have a problem, sir. I'm concerned for you as your friend.
This is where the intervention begins. So the idea...
Just kidding. Leveled up Joey is fucking sick, so I get it.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, Rex can't handle or take the upgraded Joey, so he has to settle with level 0 Joey. So kind of the approach I took is including lots of items, of course, for Joey the Rat to get out. Like flashlight, he can get out fingerprint kit, dream enhancing serum, track shoes, strange solution. So I kind of loaded that up, even with some like singleton copies of certain cards, just to give Joey a lot to play with. And then I even included Unearth the Ancients in this deck too, with the idea of, like, since it's an investigate test, you can get an asset out and get a clue if you succeed by 2. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm just trying out some things. So far, it's gone pretty well. Like, the funny part is the tricky part of the deck has been going well. It's the getting Rex up to the like high intellect levels without higher education, which is interesting compared to like some of the Seekers that I've been playing more lately. So just been trying to think through that, but other than that, it's been going pretty well. And the other nice thing about Joey is he's a good health soak for Rex too. So I don't know. I haven't put the full verdict on it yet. I'm 2 scenarios in, but
I think you're too close to it, if I'm being honest.
I
think you see straight where Joey is involved.
I flew too close to the Joey. Some people fly too close to the sun. I fly too close to the Joey.
Sounds like an Australian proverb. Oh man, don't you fly too close to the Joey.
It works though. There's utility there, I promise.
So I too have been playing around with Dexter. To back up what you said about his flexibility, I've been running him Waking Side with Yorick, and Dexter is the primary cleaver. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna wager that he's more interesting and fun, and probably a little bit, quote unquote, better going combat. But the nice thing is, since he can lean into combat, like I have his hand slots for combat and his spell slots for clue gathering and a bunch of fun events, and he has been doing work, and that ability to quick pivot an asset is it's good. It like you don't have to respect slots as hard as you normally do.
Right.
Anything with Doom, like Renfield's good, great. Yeah. Renfield is always great. But when you can just be like, just crank him up and then get rid of him for no reason at all, other than to just it's so insanely good. So that campaign's been going well. It's a very similar Yorick deck to the one that I'm running with Scott, or that I will be running with Scott in our TNA escapade. So I suppose I should talk about that really quickly. Out on the YouTube, we've got a deck build that we did of Yorick and Luke that we're going to be running through the Circle Undone. We have played the Disappearance at the Twilight Estate. It is heartbreaking, as it normally is. And then, for anyone who is wondering, okay, where is the Devourer Below video? Well, we are, regardless of how and why and who's at fault. It was me. Our recording of the YouTube, or sorry, the Twitch channel where we streamed the end of the 10 scenario campaign of Skids and Daisy, got forgotten and got deleted by Twitch, as it automatically does. Aww. So we played it again, and it went... Honestly, the result was about the same, so I'm pretty happy with putting that one up. So not even an asterisk. It was solid. And then I suppose the last thing I want to mention is I have a couple fun builds that I'm running through on the Dream side of that campaign that I just mentioned. So I've got Patrice and Mandy on the other side of that campaign. When Mind's Eye came out, I had to try it. So we're going to talk a lot about Mind's Eye when we review the next pack. But in short, I think Mind's Eye is in a really weird place. It's in like a similarly weird place to Empower Self.
Oh, you think it's that niche?
I think it's great in Patrice.
Sure.
I think it's good in any deck that's got a decent amount of draw. And it's pretty meh every Mystic else.
Is that... Oh, Mind's Eye. Okay, I was thinking something else.
Yeah, Mind's Eye is the double arcane spell that we got.
Gotcha. I was thinking... You said Mind's Eye, and I was picturing the new Seeker skill that when you use it on a treachery, you then save it to use on all future treacheries.
That is also an eye.
Yeah, it has a picture of an eye. I don't remember what the name of it is. But anyway, I was wrong. Okay, I can see what you're talking about, though, with that being a little niche.
However, I'm really enjoying this deck. It's got a really nice low curve. It's using Fire Axe and some nice Mystic events for quick clue gathering, and then pretty much I'm using Winging It and, believe it or not, Improvised Weapon to... Because if it's sitting in your discard pile for most of the game, like you're going to draw it again, which like gets you far. I don't know. It gives you another option. I'm running double cornered, so just having cards to chuck is always great. Obviously. Anyway, it's a really fun deck. I might post it at some point if I feel like it's ready. But if you haven't tried Mind's Eye and Patrice yet, would highly recommend it. And then the Mandy deck is the one I'm actually kind of proud of. So it's 50 card triple C thick Mandy. And it's running like item heavy because backpack in Mandy is actually pretty okay.
Yeah.
So between the segments of Onyx, Strange Solution, I've got Dream Enhancing Serum in here to account for like the huge hand size. And then like 6 items because it's a 50 card deck. Like you gotta spread it out a bit. I've got 6 hand slots. Like that backpack normally grabs 3 things, and it's pretty amazing when it does that. And yeah, just been really enjoying it. I just never thought that backpack would make a deck more fun, and here it is. I found it. It's here. How about you, Nick?
I have played, let's see, I was continuing my solo Roland hard mode Return to Path to Carcosa. And by continuing, that means... I think I talked about that last time. I don't think I made any further progress in that since last time we recorded. So I am about to do Pallid Mask in that run through, and it's going okay. It is a big, like, that, you'd want to talk about thick decks. That is a thick Roland deck, because I have played 3, I think, of the standalone scenarios, and I've gotten a card added to it from each of them, and I've also added the Clasp of Black Onyx, and I feel like there was another... Is there another campaign one from Carcosa that you... I don't think there is. Never mind.
Man in the Pallid Mask?
Oh, yeah, that...
You
yeah,
won?
yeah, exactly, that one, yeah. And then I have Sergeant Monroe from Excelsior in there, and I have Mask from Carnival. Yeah, it is a thick Roland deck. But it's fun. I mean, it's Roland, so what else can I say about him, really? So moving on.
Swollen.
Yeah, there you go. And then the other campaign that I started was because of now that I have Weaver of Cosmos fully like sleeved and everything, I'm like, man, I have to actually play Dream Eaters all the way through. Like, I need to do this. And
This is true.
I did not want to pick up any of my previous campaigns, so I started a new one. And I chose Skids and Marie because I don't play either of them too often at all, and I wanted to see how they would do together. And I've only played the Beyond the Gates of Sleep, or whatever that first scenario is called, and that one went pretty well. I immediately upgraded Skids to getting 2 times the Ornate Bow and 2 times Bandolier level 2. And then I also...
God, I love how much experience you get
it's
out of that.
so
scenario.
nice. It is so...
It's so liberating.
Especially now that I wasn't breaking my back to stay on the path. Like, it was very... Liberating is a good word. That is exactly how it felt. And Marie, I upgraded to... I don't even remember what I did for Marie. I'd have to look. But then... Sean, you and I decided that we were just going to play some Arkham remotely tomorrow.
For fucking fun.
Just for fun, not to record, not to stream.
Who fucking does that anymore?
And and I was like, I think that's what's killing a lot of my Arkham drive, is just that every single game I play is solo now, and that's still fun, but I just think I'm getting burned out on solo, and I literally just need another person to talk to while I'm playing. That isn't like, me with my son and asking him to like grab a token from the bag and then watch him as he fishes through looking for the one with the fun pictures on it. No, so we're...
Oh, the Elder Thing again.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Thank you.
So we're doing Dream Eaters as well, because why not? It's the current one, and that's the one that I have the least experience with so far. And for the Dream side, I'm playing as Wendy, so I made a Wendy deck that is all about... I basically asked Sean, like, is it viable to build a Wendy deck that runs off of her discard pile and, like, you keep a very low hand? And he's like, I think you can make it work, but I don't think it's going to be consistent. And I was like, well, I'm going to do it anyway. So I built that. And then I built a Min deck for the Waking side of the campaign. And that Min deck is pretty much what you'd expect from a standard Min deck. I'm running Grizzly Totem. I'm running the Dream Diary is my Seeker side quest for her. Because it makes so much sense in Min. And then I'm basically just looking at being all-around support and clue gathering in that. And so then with those two... To prep for today's episode, I played Where the Gods Dwell standalone, because I'm not there yet on any of my current campaigns. And I gave each of those decks like 6 experience, because I didn't want to change them too much, but just to get an idea for how they feel. And I ran Wendy alongside Min through Where the Gods Dwell. And it was really fun. Like, my attention was split, and so I did not play Wendy as well as I should have, and I could recognize that while I was playing. Like, there were...
Dude, I can be paying full fucking attention and still misplay Wendy. It's fun.
Yeah, but that's like, because of how I built the deck, and the whole idea is that you're filling your discard pile, and then you have effects to bring cards back into hand, or to fish cards out of your, like, bring them off the top of your deck, and then you use that to, that sort of thing. Like, there's all these effects that rely on other effects. And because I was managing her and Min and also being a parent at the same time with my kids and like that sort of thing, like, I know I misplayed her multiple times. But it was still really fun, so I'm excited to play her with my full attention. So.
Wendy's pretty good. Turns out.
And I haven't played her. I haven't played Wendy since the core, and I haven't played Min since Carcosa. So I'm glad that I picked those two as the two I'm going to go with.
Nice. I'm excited. Which side do you want to play first?
Let's just do Dream since I'm talking about Wendy. Might as well start with the Dream. Don't you kind of have to do that one, or no? You can do them interchangeably, can't you?
Yeah, you can start on either side. You just have to stop in between the pairs and do the interludes.
Right. Well, I've never done it waking side for. No, let's do. I want to do Wendy. So let's.
There is no gameplay significance to which way you start.
Sure. Yeah.
It is pure preference.
Okay, then Dream. I do like the Dream ones the better so far, at least. I haven't played all the scenarios, but
yeah.
So.
Toad's fine. Like I said, I love ending that first scenario with like 16 experience and just looking back on your work.
I know.
It's going to be tough to go back to a full campaign. I'll be honest with you. Anyway, we'll get there. Okay, so moving on to a little bit of business. We got a couple things to update everyone on. Obviously, the biggest one is Farcom Con.
Yeah.
So as we mentioned... I don't know why I was a dying TIE fighter, but okay, there we go. So
that was my Star Wars tribute band.
Die on fight. No, we're just gonna skip past that. So our virtual convention that we are throwing, along with like freaking everyone else in the Arkham community, I'm so bloody pumped of how excited everyone's gotten about it. In the place of Gen Con, July 30th to August 2nd. The schedule is now live. Not completely finalized, but pretty much there at farcomcon.com. And Farcom is Arkham with an F. And we'll put that link in the show notes, of course. So, among that schedule, we have a bunch of live shows. We've got some play sessions. We've got, and I think probably the thing I'm most excited about, I think we're in the clear to just go ahead and announce it at this point. Of course, you can go look at the schedule. So yeah, what am I doing? Totally stole my thunder already. But we've got the dudes from Team Covenant on the hook to lead us off on the first day right after our intro stream. And they're going to be playing something very special to us. It's going to be cool.
I'm super excited for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So be sure to register so that you can access the events. It is a free con. Feel free to sign up even if you don't have anything to throw at us. We are accepting donations with the tickets if you want to throw some money at us to help defray the costs of throwing this thing. But that is completely up to you. And the Discord server for it is now live. So link is on the con website, and we'll have that in the show notes too. So check that out if you want to join the server for the con. Again, it's all free, so just get in. Just come. It's free.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on this schedule. I'm just going through it one more time, and yeah, I'm excited for a lot of things on here.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
So then we'll have more preview info about FarcomCon on our next episode, which is going to be the last episode before it kicks off, which is insane to me. Like, we were that close to Gen Con, and it makes me sad. Oh, well. Okay. And I think the last thing we wanted to mention, kind of like community news-wise, very similar to FarcomCon, the League of Cooperative Gaming Con, or LCG Con. You see what they did there? Clever little scamps. So they are putting on another distance con for your Lord of the Rings and Marvel fixes. We have coordinated schedules with them so that no listener event overlaps over those days. So hopefully, we assume that there's going to be a lot of crossover between the cooperative LCGs, right? Like,
I would imagine so, yeah.
How do you just play one?
I mean, I've managed so far, but I also barely play this one.
Barely play one. Damn it, we got there. So anyway, check that out. They also have a Discord server. We'll put that link in the show notes. Or on our Discord server, if you're out there, reach out to Wandering Took, because he's kind of the ringleader for that con. Okay, let's move it on to patron stuff. What's going on in the offices, Ian?
All right, office update. So first off, special thanks to our board members. That's Chris B, Chris H, and Chris M, our conglomeration of Chris's. Morton, Jared, Ian, Kyle, Philip, Dave, Abilio, Nathan, Chad, and Robert. Thanks so much, board members, for your support. Special shout out to a random patron this time around is Eric Oliver. Thank you, Eric, for supporting us. And if you haven't already had a chance to look at mythosmerch.com, I highly recommend it. We have a whole bunch of different types of Mythos Busters themed merch. And if you're a patron, we have special merch for you. We did the update last time around about the latest goal we hit, but I'll just mention again that we do have tattoos incoming at some point for me and Sean to get tattooed, and we'll have more details about that soon.
I'm still finalizing things, but one of them might be during Arkham. Or Farkham, rather.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm finally getting some ideas together as far as what to get. I'm still waiting for tattoo. Well, I mean, that's a given. Yellow sign tramp stamp. I just have to wait for tattoo parlors to actually open up because they still have not opened up, and it feels like things are closing back down in California again soon. So I'm not sure when I'll actually be able to go inside a tattoo shop, but we'll see.
Yeah, who knows, man? With how much changes in a week nowadays, like just who knows?
Yeah,
but we're trying.
When it's possible, it'll happen. Next patron goal, is, like we mentioned last time, is going to be another standalone scenario, but that's a bit further out, so we'll let you know more about that when we hit it. And we do have a few new job titles to give out for the newest members of the offices. So first up, Anthony Kogan is going to be taking on the job title of Extracorporeal Acclimation Guide. Very, very selfless job when you have to... let those spirits and get them used to this dimension.
Spirits, I see what you did there.
Ben Swoboda is going to be taking on the role of Dream Probe Operator, Surveillance Division. So even has a subtitle there. But yeah, that's a job that requires some fine hand-eye coordination for sure. Don't want to probe the wrong things. And finally...
Sorry, that was funnier than it should have been.
Finally, the Pineapple, yes, the Pineapple, is going to be our on-staff night gaunt ophthalmologist.
So that's why all the night gaunts have been flying around with googly eyes.
We knew someone was responsible, and so we decided to hire on the Pineapple in an official capacity. Yes, make it official.
Well, welcome, guys, and thank you for your support.
Yes.
Is it all for patron stuff?
Yep, that's it.
Crazy. Quick update on Dissonant Voices. Up to Where the Gods Dwell is out there, so check the patron. It's on Patreon is where the list is posted, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
So if you're a patron, you just find the pinned post at the top of the patron page is where all the Dissonant Voices files live.
And hell or high water, I will have the Weaver of the Cosmos and the epilogue recorded tomorrow, posted by the weekend. It is my life goal at the moment.
Ooh.
So the entire Dreams cycle should be out there by around the time this gets released. So go check it out. And if you haven't already, if that sounds like something you'd want access to, feel free to come and hop on as a patron at any level, and you'll have access to it. Nick, news.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there's any official news currently from FFG. I went through their website again just this morning, and I didn't see any new articles on there or announcements. Am I missing something?
Nope.
Perfect.
I expected you to say no and hand it right back.
Okay. The only thing I'll just reiterate from previously is just Farkham Con, LCG Con. Check both of those out if you haven't already. And any questions, feel free to let us know on Discord or email us at mythosbusterspod@gmail.com. We would be happy to fill you in with the details.
Oh, so delighted. Okay. So with Scott gone, we're going to skip the rules section. And we're going to hop straight into our main Tupac. Less than 30 minutes in.
Oh,
what is even happening?
beautiful.
This is impossible.
Well, that just means we get to take forever on these postcards. Right?
We will.
We'll be full by the end, but right now we are but an empty vessel, Nick, if you wouldn't mind.
Oof.
All right.
Sure. Empty Vessel is a level 4 Guardian asset. It has 1 resource cost, a will icon and a wild icon. Item, relic, and blessed traded takes up the accessory slot, and its game text reads, limit 1 per deck. Uses, I can never... I don't know how this is a thing anymore. Uses. Uses. Oh my god.
No, it's fine. Just,
Uses 0 charges. Reaction. After you defeat an enemy, place 1 charge on Empty Vessel. Reaction. If there are at least 3 charges on Empty Vessel, search your bonded cards for Wish Eater and swap it with Empty Vessel, moving all charges from Empty Vessel to Wish Eater. And that would mean we would have to talk about Wish Eater.
Wish Eater.
Wish Eater is a null-costed Guardian asset. Item, relic, blessed, traded, accessory slot as well, bonded with Empty Vessel. Reaction, when you reveal a Skull Cultist, Tablet, or Elder Thing Chaos token during a skill test, spend 1 charge, cancel that Chaos token, heal 1 damage, and 1 horror. Forced, if Wish Eater has no charges, search your bonded cards for Empty Vessel and swap it with Wish Eater. So, in that solo Roland hard Return to Carcosa deck that I talked about, this is one of the cards that I picked up. I picked it up after Unspeakable Oath going into Phantom of Truth. So I've had it in my deck for 1 scenario. I have not gotten it into play yet because it's only 1 card in a deck of about 42 cards currently.
Sure.
So unfortunately it hasn't hit table, but I'm excited to have token control in Guardian that is fueled by Guardian doing what Guardian does best, which is killing enemies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have not played with it yet, but it seems strong. I mean, the fact that you're healing 1 damage and 1 horror without taking an action, that's one thing. But then also that you're canceling one of these bad stuff tokens that usually do bad stuff and have, high negative modifiers usually. So seems pretty strong. I think the downside is what you just said, Nick, that... like trying to find it early enough that you could pile up charges, because depending on how many players you're playing with is kind of the key thing, it seems. So like how many enemies you're going to see, so how quickly you can charge it up.
Yeah, it is nice that you get to choose, like you can either stack the charges on it over and over and over again and then let it sit, like if you're playing a really long scenario, like again, Unspeakable Oath would have been perfect for something like that. Especially for that second half when it's like a race to the end. But, yeah, I wish I would have gotten the opportunity to put it in play.
Yeah, I don't know how all in you would want to go on Empty Vessel, but it is relic traded, so an investigator that can take Seeker can, what's her face? I'm blanking on
Ursula.
her name. The relic grabber.
Ursula.
No, not Ursula.
Ellie Horowitz. Sorry.
Yeah, Horowitz. Yeah, so Horowitz could potentially be your like 2nd and 3rd copies and free up the accessory slot. But yeah, that would be a case where you're kind of really going in on Empty Vessel.
Also, the Relic Grabber was the name of my high school band's first EP.
Not to be outdone on the band jokes. Could not let that stand.
But yeah,
it seems strong.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just generally agree with you, Nick, that it's really cool. If you have a way to get it early, then it's great. Otherwise, I just wish it maybe had like 1 more icon, because if you find it late, the Empty Vessel rather. Yeah, I wish it had like 1 more icon, because if you find it too late, ooh, that's the sad 4 XP sitting in your hand.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And that's like if you're building a Guardian that's going to capitalize on will, then I guess there might be a little more value to it. Just overall, like maybe Carolyn or Diana, but
Let's say the downside to the way this bonded thing works is I'm pretty sure Diana cannot put the thing. What thing?
I don't know.
The eater. Sorry, the Wish Eater. Sorry, I'm bouncing back and forth between the two cards. You can't put the Wish Eater underneath her, right? Because as soon as a bonded card leaves play, it leaves play.
Yeah.
Or if it has no charges, it's swapped with Wish Eater.
Right.
Wait, but does that mean?
So this is how I would read it. Because, the charges would be removed when you stack it, right?
Yes.
Yes. So then, immediately after you stack it, then it would get pulled out of play.
But does that game text apply? We're going to need a ruling on this. Because I might...
Yeah.
It's okay. Diana can't take it anyway. So.
And actually, Carolyn strangely can't take it either because she's 0 to 3
right.
Guardian.
That's
and
so weird.
The Heals Horror is on the bonded card, so I don't think she can take it.
Oh, how lame.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, control-y Carolyn is fun, but can't do that. Can't do 2 control-y, so...
And I almost got excited about the Bless trait, too, and then I had to double-check Mateo's deck building because I haven't played him in so long, and he's 0 to 3 Blessed, so just outside his
Oh, wow!
Yeah.
This is Book of Shadows for him. Are we going to get, like, a level 2 version of Empty Vessel now?
He really should have had 0 to 5 Blessed.
Yeah!
Like what else is
His
he
deck
doing with
building
Blessed?
is shit already. Why are we limiting
just give
it?
the man full Blessed access. Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool. It would also go, as Scott continues to yell at me here, Battle Mage Akachi. We have a build out there for it, so anyone who can take... Because the Empty Vessel is... Wait, what?
Relic. No.
Can Akachi take this?
Item, relic.
She can take a cult, right?
She takes a cult.
Oh, it has charges.
It has charges.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, it has charges. There it is. Oh, and it comes in with 1 charge, too. Okay, all right, I'm on board. Battle Mage Akachi. It's good. Though the more item fetch we get, the better this will be, because
Yes.
I think you said it right, Ian, is that you're probably not building around this. You'll put this in as a one of in a deck that's killing things, and if you find it, you find it. If you don't, you don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So then I think that moves us on to Surprising Find. Ian, you want to read Surprising Find?
Sure. Surprising Find is a level 1 Seeker skill with 1 wild icon, fortune and research traded, myriad keyword. Reaction: when you search your deck and Surprising Find is among the searched cards, put it into play in your play area. You must commit it to the next eligible skill test you perform. If that test is successful, draw 1 card. Max 1 research per search.
That's fun. It's a nice little boon if you're already searching. I definitely think that this is one that you only put in those decks that are going to be searching a lot, i.e. Mandy.
Mm-hmm.
But not something I would grab for most Seekers, I would say.
It doesn't ask much of you. Well, like 1 experience gets you the set,
Right.
Because of Myriad, so that's cool. This is one I've yet to actually use as far as the research cards go.
Mm-hmm.
I just find in general that anyone who's going to be digging a lot is going to be able to find a more consistent way to boost their stats, so this tends not to really appeal too much. Point of interest, Rex can't take it.
Yep.
But the thing is like, what this has over, say, Astounding Revelation, is that when you draw Astounding Revelation, just like in upkeep, you're like, God damn it.
Yeah.
At least here it's like, all right, wild icon, fine.
Mm-hmm. You lose out on the potential card draw, but I kind of wish that Surprising Find, it's not the next test you perform, but rather the next test performed by an investigator this turn.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I kind of wish
Sure.
that if you searched as a last action and found this, you could then potentially buff. It's a very minor complaint because it's a +1, but the fact that it's only you makes it even a little more niche than what it was previously.
Yep.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm not blown away by it. Like, even in Mandy, I think I agree that there's other stuff that this would be taking the place of that's probably has a higher impact. I could easily imagine this having a higher XP version at some point, though, that's like maybe more icons or gives you a little bit more flexibility of when you can commit it.
I kind of wish, well, not that Mandy really needs help. She's really friggin' good. I don't know if you guys know this. But I kind of wish, I get why researches got limited. I wish it was one, you couldn't trigger more than one copy of the same research card per search. But like, if you could get an astounding revelation and a surprising find in the same search, I might look at this a little bit harder.
Yeah, because you do get those games with Mandy where, like, you reveal Astounding Revelation and her signature. But, I mean, granted, her signature is also kind of balls, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, too bad you couldn't replace her signature with this.
Wait, when you say balls...
Bad.
What?!
Isn't her signature... Okay. I don't think I've ever gotten to a point where I triggered her signature.
Oh, interesting.
Well,
that's because you're not running 50 cards, are you?
I'm pretty sure I did the first time I played her.
Oh, really?
Now I'm forgetting what her signature
of those suckers
is.
It's a research where if you see it, you can discover a clue at your location and then draw it, and then you can play it to shuffle it back in your deck.
Oh, yeah, yep. No, I just never, like, whenever I get Astounding Revelation, I just grab the resources, and I'm always happy to get that, whereas with that one, it seemed like there was only a clue on the location some of the time, you know what I mean? Like, it was an effect that I was always happy to see. So
sure. Definitely the value diminishes in lower player counts.
Right.
In that regard.
Yeah, I think
anyway.
I think the thing with this card and some of the other research cards is it's a tiny bit of a trap. Like when I first built Mandy, I'm like, oh, well, you search and it does something, so I threw all of them in there. And then after taking a step back and removing myself from the emotional joy of finding a prize in your deck when you're searching. The Cracker Jack effect.
Cracker Jack ring!
Yes! I like how we all three went for the same joke. Boy, what an impact that brand has had on our...
We're talking earlier about marketing on children. Like, there's a good example.
Yeah, that's a reference that is probably already outdated for a younger generation. Yeah, but I just find, like, then it becomes a thing of, like, you take a step back and say, well, that's taking up space in my deck. That could be something that Mandy finds and puts into my hand that's actually more effective. But, yeah.
Interesting. I don't know. Maybe it'll find a place someday. Maybe if, like, Min, this isn't terrible? Because she can augment it,
sure.
Right?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
You must commit it to the next. Okay, so you are still committing it. Whoever found it is still considered to be committing it. Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah.
But if you're not building a deck with a lot of searching tools, then it's still like this isn't because you spend an experience point to get this. So if you're not already building a deck that's like searching for shit, you're not going to spend. Granted, it's one experience, but you're not even going to look at this, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need a lot of search to make research work at all. But, yeah. All right. Anyway. So from an odd new card to a fabled card of old, we've got level 3 Old Book of Lore. Still a 2-cost... Wait. Level 0 is 3, isn't it? All right. So it is a 2-cost, level 3 Seeker asset. Has a willpower and intellect icons, has item and tome traits. It has uses 2 secrets. Action, exhaust Old Book of Lore, choose an investigator at your location. That investigator searches the top 3 cards of the deck for a card, draws it, and shuffles their deck. Then, you may spend a secret to have that investigator immediately play that card, reducing its cost by 2. And of course, it takes up a hand slot.
I love this card.
It's pretty juicy.
Mm-hmm. The fact that it lets you do, like, the fact that it lets you play it immediately without costing an action and reduce its cost, like, that is so nuts. So worth 3 experience in my mind. You can only do it twice unless you're charging it, but I love it.
Yeah, and the nice thing is you've got Enraptured
Mm-hmm.
and what's the Truth from Fiction.
Mm-hmm.
You could potentially load this up on more secrets. And what's the last one? Astounding Revelation. We were literally just talking about it. To be able to keep it up on secrets. And, this is great in Daisy, obviously, because she can free action it, as she always does. And now that free action becomes a free play action with a resource bonus to anyone.
It's so good!
It's quite good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But like someone in Mandy, she could dig 3, draw 2, dig 6, draw 1. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't put it in Mandy yet, but it seems like it'd be a pretty good home for
So
it.
if you grab 2 of the 3 with Bandy, do you then spend 1 secret to play both at a discounted cost?
Interesting.
I don't know. Arkham's Razor says no. I kind of hope it's yes, but I doubt it. But that's just interesting. Like, I didn't even think about that. The one time that I played this card, I was playing Daisy, and I had Old Book of Lore level 3, and what's the scroll of prophecies? No.
Yeah, it is.
The mystic one? Yeah.
The amazing one?
The draw 3, discard 1 or discard 2 or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Scroll of Prophecies.
I had those 2 in play, and I felt like I had my whole deck. Like, I was like, nothing is a secret from me. I have all of the secrets. It was so fun. It was a little overkill, but it was still fun.
Yeah, it's a pretty good card. It's a pretty.
I mean, what else do you say? Like, it's literally like Old Book of Lore is a touchstone. Like, that's a cornerstone of Arkham, especially core. Like, early Arkham, Old Book of Lore is super good, and this only improves on it.
Okay, so outside of Daisy and Mandy, do you see it going anywhere?
Any multiplayer game, I think a seeker looks at this. I think they give it a look. I don't know if they necessarily get it all the time, but I think if you're running 3-4 players, this definitely could have a place.
Yeah, one of the things I like about it, too, is it's one of the only instances I can think of a card that actually, in multiplayer, could help another investigator, like, deal with a situation without taking an attack of opportunity, because it's using your action to get something out, so they're not... Like, usually, if someone else has an engaged enemy, you're not going to be able to help them get something out without the attack of opportunity, so... Definitely a very multiplayer handy card, I think.
I really want to, and I've been wanting to do this for a while, but I don't play enough 3 or 4 player games. But I really want to build a seeker deck that capitalizes on Old Book of Lore level 3 and Attorney Urkel and just is all about like guidance and just all about like just being total support. Like, you guys do the work.
Financial advisor build.
Exactly. Yeah, essentially, yeah.
How does knowledge's power work with this? Do you get to ignore the cost of spending a secret too? Is that considered a cost?
I don't think so. I think it just wouldn't cost you the action and the exhaust. Because the secret is not part of the cost of the action. It's a separate cost within the ability. That's how I read it anyway.
Yeah, I think that's how I lean with it too, but I was hoping for something else.
That would be awesome if you do it all as one, though.
So, Ian, I know you've been waiting. In the shadows. For me to walk by. With my bare neck.
Are we on the same card?
Are we not? Grotwire?
Oh, yes. We are. I was in the wrong Arkham DB window. You're completely right.
Okay. I'm like, hang on. I was not picking up this segue.
As I often do, I was looking up other cards to go with what we were discussing, and then I was clicking in the next card in that window. Okay,
Ian was looking at the silk scarf asset.
Yeah, we gotta have a full set of clothes eventually. Yes, I love this card, and this is the Garrote Wire 2-cost level 2 rogue asset with 1 combat icon, item, and weapon traded. Free trigger during your turn, exhaust Garrote Wire. To take a fight action, you get +2 combat for this attack. Use only on an enemy with exactly 1 remaining health, and it takes up an accessory slot, actually.
This is so beautiful on so many levels. It's a free action to fight with a decent boost to your combat. You use it specifically to take out like weakened enemies, and it doesn't even use your hands. Like, it uses the accessory slot, which is not a highly contested slot for rogues, unless you're running some off-class stuff. Like, this card is beautiful on It's not expensive. It's only 2 experience. You can get it fairly early. And if you're the killer, like, you're gonna love this. Oh my god, I am so in love with this card.
Yeah, I love it a lot, and it really helps with the bane of my existence, the type of enemies we've talked about a lot in past episodes, the 3 health enemies, which are so annoying. This is perfect for that, because you hit them for 2 with a weapon, and then since they have 1 remaining health, you can finish them off with a free action, essentially. And you're getting +2 like, it just, the saving of the actions just ends up being well worth it throughout the course of a game.
I also,
like you said, just that accessory slot is not necessarily like as highly contested as it is in other classes.
Right, yeah. I also
except Lucky Cigarette Case is goddamn amazing, so it still matters.
It is, but I think that Lucky Cigarette Case and Garrote, like, I think the same, like, okay, alright, I guess I don't know what I'm saying. I was gonna say, I don't think the same investigators look at both as seriously, but never mind, rogues are always trying to succeed by 2.
Which investigator doesn't want to draw cards, Nick?
Well, that's the thing, like, there's also pickpocketing that can draw you cards, like, there are other tools to do that, you know what I mean? Whereas this fills that role, fills that desire that we have had about those 3 health enemies, like Ian said. Or even better, I just love the image of Skids using a piano wire to strangle a swarm of rats. Like, is that not hilarious to anybody else? I think that's amazing.
I mean, my Tony was using Garrote wires on spiders in the Dream Eaters.
Exactly. Like, you're trying to round them all together just so you can strangle them all at once.
Just stay there.
Squeak, squeak.
But it just plays into this whole, like, by the end of Dream Eaters, I had a solo Tony campaign going, which for some reason, I was initially skeptical of Tony solo. I think maybe just because of 3 intellect. I don't know what I was thinking, because by the end of it, he's so good. And I had this set up with Garrote Wire and both Delilah and Lola as allies. And the thing is, he's actually really good at generating money, so that sounds like it's a very expensive kind of setup all around, which it is, but he can kind of fund it. And the amount of enemies he was just able to take out quickly because of all this like free damage pinging around, it's really amazing.
I mean, I just don't think we can understate the fact that this is a weapon that you wear on your neck. Like, it doesn't compete for your hand slots. It's so cool.
Yeah,
all right.
And I think one last thing is sometimes when we're thinking about slots, it feels like it's a either or type case, but I think, like we were talking about with Dexter, like, you can think about your slots kind of evolving over the course of a game. Yeah. Like, I've definitely started out with Lucky Sig cases, Tony, and then when it's time to get serious, like, I've drawn a good amount of cards with Lucky Sig, like, I'll swap it out for Garrote Wire if it's strangling time.
I was gonna go Darkwing Duck with it. Let's get dangerous.
Smoke and a strangle.
That was definitely the name of my...
Alright, that's enough. Delilah O'Rourke is a unique rogue ally.
I fucked it up.
Level 3 resource costs. She has the combat and agility icons ally, criminal, and syndicate traded. You get +1 combat and +1 agility. Already very nice. Free action, exhaust Delilah O'Rourke and spend X resources. Choose an enemy at your location. Deal 1 damage to the chosen enemy, 2 damage instead if that enemy is exhausted. X is the chosen enemy's evade value. She has 3 health and 2 horror, and she takes up the ally slot. And that is awesome. Like, cool, now we have the Lola for enemies. I love it. I haven't had the chance to use her yet, but I really love that design.
I mean, we all loved Lola Santiago.
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't we love her mechanical sister?
Exactly. And what's really cool, too, is that, like, Lola covers not a weakness of rogues, but she covers that whole, like, getting clues. And not only that, but getting clues fast. Like, rogues, they tend to have a little bit more trouble with that other than their events that can do that. So Lola is an asset that allows you to do that every turn. You can grab a clue from a location as long as you have money. So it's nice to see that the enemy version of that we know that rogues can deal damage, and they have assets that deal some pretty good damage. So Delilah's thing is that there's a kicker on there that increases the damage. Like, as long as you're evading the enemies or exhausting them, she does a little bit more. So she is not only the damage side of Lola, but she's also still looking like she's still a powerful version of that, simply because she gives you a boost as long as you are exhausting enemies.
Also fun combo. I know when I talked about my Preston deck that I made most recently, that I had actually kind of found a place for is it Dumb Luck? Dumb Luck is like the liquid I found for evading, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so found a place for Dumb Luck and Stealth. Guys, remember Stealth?
Oh my god.
So, okay. Oh, yeah, all right. So let me lay this on you then. So you know how the fun thing to do with Lola Santiago is to flashlight, and then in the window, while the shroud is -2, then trigger Lola and get a discount on your clue gathering. Like, you know how that's what all the cool kids do?
Yes, of course I knew that.
Guess what? Tomorrow, all the cool kids are going to be playing Stealth, and while you evade the enemy and reduce its evade by 2...
Delilah.
You can get a discount on Delilah. You're all welcome.
The problem with that, like, that's cool, but...
No, there's no problem at all. It's the perfect strategy.
But if you just evaded the enemy like normal, like rogues are good at doing, you would then get a bonus to your damage.
Indeed.
Right. So if you use stealth, you don't get that damage bonus, but you get a cheaper. Okay. Well, I guess you get what you pay for, I think, is what we ultimately get to.
Right. Exactly right.
Yeah, I think overall, this card is so strong for similar reasons as Lola. Like, you're getting a cool ability, but also 2 stat boosts for only 3 cost. I think Lola is slightly stronger just because Lola is one of the most bonkers allies in the entire game. But that doesn't take anything away from Delilah. It's just because clues are, like, slightly more important than damage in the long run. But Delilah's super good. There's, like, so many fun combos. Like, you can do a Hatchet Man to evade, and then suddenly you're pinging for 3 damage, since it's exhausted, plus the extra damage. And then also, one of the things I didn't realize at first is that I always forget, because I often don't do this. I don't know about you guys, like, because enemies exhaust after they attack, but I often just don't do it because I'm playing solo, so I'm like, I don't want to, like, tilt this card and then tilt it back when, like, 90% of the time it doesn't matter, right? Because it's mostly just as, like, a kind of mental reminder thing. But in this case, it's actually plays a part, because after the enemies attack you and exhaust, that you can use one of the player windows after that to trigger her to get the 2 damage instead of the 1 damage, so... Important thing to keep in mind.
I always forget.
Yes,
I always
do
forget
too.
that enemies exhaust when they attack. Like, back when the game started, it seemed so important. And then I never ever did it, and it didn't matter, so I forgot that it was a thing.
So that's interesting because then you could do like a skids build that runs Delilah and Survival Knife, and your whole thing is just like ignoring enemies, like, or you know what I mean? Maybe not. That'd just be like retaliate skids. I like the idea, but I don't think it's gonna work.
Yeah, she good, and I think I mentioned it with the Tony deck, but yeah, with him in particular, I've run the Charisma where you have both Lola and Delilah, which is just bonkers, but you just have to have the kind of deck that's generating that kind of resources to support it.
Jenny or Preston or something, yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, let's summon the next card then. Oh boy. It's Summon Hound. It's a level 1, 3-cost Mystic asset. It has an intellect and a combat icon. It has ally and summon trait. That tickles the nerd in me in ways I can't quite describe. As an additional cost to play Summoned Hound, you must search your bonded cards for 1 copy of Unbound Beast and shuffle it into your deck. Free triggered action. What are we? Fast triggered action? What is the official
I just say
name of
free
that?
action. I don't know what the official name is, but...
Squiggle! Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Danger Squiggle.
Danger Squiggle.
Isn't that just
Record scratch. During your turn, except during an action, exhaust the Summoned Hound to fight or investigate. Either attack with a base skill, base combat skill of 5, or investigate with a base intellect skill of 5. It has 3 health, no sanity, takes up the ally slot and an arcane slot. And of course, we must, in turn, talk about Unbound Beast. Which is a weakness enemy. It has 3 fight, 3 health, and 3 evade. Monster extra dimensional and Tindalos traded. It is bonded to Summoned Hound. Prey is Bearer. Hunter, Retaliate. Revelation, if there's no copy of Summoned Hound in play, set Unbound Beast aside, out of play. Otherwise, set an Investigator's Summoned Hound aside, out of play. Spawn Unbound Beast, engage with that same Investigator. It deals 1 damage and 1 horror.
So
your summon can turn on you, which is kind of unfortunate.
Or
but also kind of freaking awesome.
if you're playing multiple Mystics and everyone's running Summoned Hound, it's just a race to see who can get the Unbound Beast first, because then you can replace someone else's Summoned Hound with your Unbound Beast.
Oh my god, they're not unique.
They're not!
Guys.
So if... That's what 4 Mystics, everybody with Summoned Hound, then it's just,
Or literally anyone with off-class Mystic, because this is so low.
It's only a 1 card. Yeah.
Oh god, we need to do a 4-player game where it's just the Hound off.
Mexican Hound off.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So, the card, though, is cool, I feel. I think it's more useful for its investigate than it is for its attack.
Generally so, yeah.
Unless you're running, like, say, Diana or probably Sister Mary, who's going to be able to run, like, Vicious Blows, so you can try to up the damage on that attack. 3 health is okay. 3 cost is pretty reasonable for this ability. The Unbound Beast is a bit scary, though not insurmountable. I think the biggest thing about this is that it also takes up your arcane slot, which is
yeah.
Yeah, it takes up 2 pretty important slots for almost every build of Mystic. So
yeah.
Like we just discussed with Delilah, free actions, free fights, free investigates are important and powerful, but this one has more drawbacks to it. Yeah, I think especially the slots more than anything. Although the bad dog is bad too. So both of them are.
Yes, bad dog is bad.
Yeah, bad dog is bad. I wonder how much since I have not played this card, I wonder how much effort you devote to avoiding it, like playing. God, I'm bad with cards tonight. The Scry Master ally in Mystic, who you can look at your own deck. Alyssa. If you're like constantly peering to try to see when the bad dog is gonna turn, I don't know. It definitely seems powerful. It's just I don't know if the drawbacks are. The drawbacks scare me. I think I need to. It's one of those cards like the Hungering Blade where I need to specifically like build a standalone deck and try it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a hot take on this one.
Yeah.
I think this is almost exclusively a solo card. Maybe you could justify it in 2-player, but I feel like, in general, that investigate action is going to be more valuable on the Summon Hound, but you probably aren't going to want to take this unless you can more or less easily take the Unbound Beast, which means you need to be okay at fighting too. So you either need to be like hard flex or a solo investigator, so already hard flex.
Right. I definitely think this is one of those cards that is like, I think if you pick this card, you're doing it because this is a fun card. And it triggers, it causes cool moments in the game that only this card can do. Like that specific interaction between Unbound Beast and this. And sure, it's going to suck ass when you play Summoned Hound and then the end of the round you draw Unbound Beast and you don't even get to do anything. Like maybe you got one test off with the Summon Hound and it's like, well, god damn it. But like, I think that's why you play this card, is just because it's going to create those fun moments. I honestly, there is not a Mystic deck that I would choose this as like one of my upgrades. You know what I mean? Like there's always going to be a better thing, in my opinion, to spend the experience on, no matter what I'm doing, even if it's solo, even if it's flex, if it's combat or investigating or whatever. The only caveat to that is Scott in our chat, thank you Scott, brings up that Agnes can use this with a chance encounter, which would put Summoned Hound into play and ignore shuffling the weakness in because of how a chance encounter works.
It puts it into play instead of having to play it, so you ignore the additional cost to play.
That's
so
pretty nice.
If you want
a wild Summoned Hound appeared.
Exactly. You pull a Summoned Hound out of the lake. Yeah, like that's kind of a fun little way to get around it. But I don't feel like, going back to what we talked about already, I don't feel like Summoned Hound on its own is good enough to justify playing this card just outside of like, let's have a fun time as Seeker and summon a Hound. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's one of those cards like Hungering Blade that I really love the theme of it. I think you probably can have a lot of fun with it. But if you're thinking about optimizing your deck, this is never going to be the card for your like super optimal deck. It falls into that more fun, weird category.
Yeah, totally.
I guess now that I'm thinking about it, if Chance Encounter works, then Flare should work in the same principle. Because you're just putting it into play.
So what you guys are telling me is that I need to build my Agnes Summon Hound deck.
Yes.
That's what I'm hearing.
I mean, in theory, that could be nice. You know, she's dealing damage. You get an extra fight in there. Yeah. Or getting the free investigate.
Guys. Did I tell you that I totally already built an Agnes Summon Hound deck?
I want to say you did, but I think that's just because every time you say, I built a Agnes/Diana deck, I'm like, I know we heard it. But
anyway, so this is going to be playing right into your comment, Nick, but I don't care. It's just me. You guys know what you're in for. The one time I have used this is in a Diana deck that kind of focused more on... So there's two ways to build Diana. You can go fast willpower and like lean on your spells and just like stick whatever you can underneath her whenever you get the chance and build up to good willpower, and then you play like a normal mystic. Or there's the Diana where you actually lean on her other skills, you know, rely on cancels for tempo, and then slowly push through and just use your high willpower mid to late game to push through to the end. In the latter type of deck, I took this and I took Empower Self, and it ended up being a lot of friggin' fun. Yeah, I think that's where it is. This is a really fun card. I love the theme. This is a really cool use of the bonded keyword. But, you know, it does ask a lot of you in some ways. So I'll be... Yeah. If we get maybe more ally play, maybe if there's something, you know, some more cards that target allies specifically and do some cool stuff, there might be more to it. But like, you could put Trusted on this and it wouldn't even get both bonuses, which is a bummer. But yeah.
The
Anyway,
other
it's a
thing
really
that
cool card.
The other thing that sucks is that not only do you get an enemy weakness when it comes out, but then like it kicks out you can't get your old dog the team version back, so you're kind of losing that cost you put into it. It would have been cool if it worked like Gollum in Lord of the Rings, where when you defeat the beast, then he reverts back to the summon form. But the text box is pretty tight, so maybe it was one of those things, or just couldn't fit in all that text.
Yeah, you put the leash back on. Fluffy. All right, so then let's move on to the Survivor cards. I believe we're on Ian again.
Ianic? Okay. Nothing Left to Lose. Oh man, I love this art. It's amazing. Nothing Left to Lose is a 0-cost level 3 Survivor event wild icon. Spirit traded. If you have fewer than 5 resources, gain resources until you have 5 resources. If you have fewer than 5 cards in your hand, draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. Remove Nothing Left to Lose from the game.
Seems good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't play
Red.
red.
Comment on the art again. It's great. Patrice is killing it in that dress.
Mm-hmm. The art gives a strong indication of which investigator might like this card.
It's I don't know. This is pretty universally good, right?
I mean,
Like,
one action, draw 5 cards is pretty good. Like, you know what I mean?
And potentially gain up to 5 resources. Those are separate abilities. So, like, I mean, no matter what you're at, say you're at 2 resources and 3 cards, you play this, you gain 3 resources and draw 2. Like, that's good. I would play that card.
Right.
I just think this is really, really good. In fact, perhaps Patrice is maybe one of its harder spots. Still good. You know, Wild Icon's great, but the drawing up to 5 cards in your hand isn't as valuable to her because she just does that.
Yeah, I think that would be more like when you have like a huge turn where you're pitching so much stuff that you need like a mid-turn refresh. The hard part is kind of wish this was fast, but maybe that's asking for too much.
Yeah.
But
I always kind of think of the same thing.
Just in Patrice's case, like the fact it's taking an action to play this, then it's like, then I don't have that much time to use the cards I draw. But yeah, I think it'd be more about like thinking about which decks don't want it, which is any like Survivor decks where you are kind of amassing more cards in hand and not really spending a lot of your stuff. But I feel like most Survivor decks that I play tend to kind of churn through cards a lot. Like whether you're talking about Windy, who's constantly discarding cards from hand to fund her ability, or Ashcan for similar reasons, or a lot of Survivors are using Fire Axe, so they're spending through resources a lot. So yeah, I think it has a place in a lot of Survivor decks.
Definitely. And
just like particularly in like a Dark Horse build, just being able to like ride at 0 for a while and then shoot straight up to 5 when you need to, like, so juicy. Oh, that's interesting. So, well, never mind. That's a rules question that hasn't been answered, so I won't ask it. Anything else on Left to Lose before we move on?
Nope.
Nick,
Yay.
are you a liar, a prophet, or both?
No. The Black Cat is a unique neutral
Answer
ally.
accepted.
Costs 5 resources, or I'm sorry, 2 resources and 5 experience. It comes with 2 wild icons. It comes with them. You don't have to pay for those wild icons. They're free if you buy the cat.
They're included.
I don't know why I chose that way to describe this card, but
This bad boy can fit so many wild icons.
slaps cat.
Slap the top of the cat.
Rare. Ally Avatar Dreamlands traded. Its game text reads: anytime you reveal a tablet, elder thing, or Elder Sign symbol during a skill test, you may choose to use the following effects instead of that symbol's normal effects. For tablet, you can choose to do -1, the black cat takes 1 direct damage. For the Elder Thing, you can choose to do -1, the black cat takes 1 direct horror, and for the Elder Sign, you can choose to do +5, heal all damage and horror from black cat. It has 3 health, 3 sanity, takes up the ally slot. Very interesting. Those generally tablets, like I just played again, Where the Gods Dwell, and I think the tablet in that is a -4. So this is really nice. I'd much rather have a -1 than a -4. And also the Elder Sign ability. So many times you run into investigators who have Elder Sign abilities that are like +X, and the X is never a value higher than 1, just depending on how the game goes, like with Roland or Agnes or whatever. Or you run into investigators with just their Elder Signs, they're always so swingy. This will make it always nice whenever you draw an Elder Sign. I like it, but I haven't actually played with it yet, so...
Yeah, this is a card I have not tried, but I'm really dying to try. I think it's one I have heard like zero chatter about in the community.
Right.
I wonder sometimes whether neutral cards, there's a thing with neutral cards where it's really, they're easily overlooked. But the one I really want to try it in is Jim, because then you have Skull 0, and then these are turned into -1s, so...
Okay. All right. I've tried this in
Diana?
2 different decks. No. I've tried this in 2 different decks. And I can confirm that it's very easy to make mistakes as to when this card will actually be useful.
What? How so?
So I played it with Jim in Carcosa.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that I tried the deck out standalone. It was pretty cool. But then as soon as you start playing in Carcosa, it like governs the choices you make, because you have to remember so many of the choices I wanted to make put cultists in the chaos bag, and I'm like,
right.
No, though. So it's interesting. I think Jacqueline's going to be a very, very good candidate for this card.
Sure.
The most recent one I popped it in was Patrice, because that Patrice deck that I mentioned earlier with Mind's Eye gets like to its normal build at like 20 experience. So after that, I'm just digging for things to add to it. So I'm like, you know what? Let's try this out. It's his cycle after all. Where the Gods Dwell, I think, is the only really good example of where he's really good. But beyond that, I found that the tokens were not that much harder. So I ended up not really using him a whole lot. But hey, 2 cost for 3/3 soak by itself is pretty decent.
Sure, but you're also paying 5 experience for that 3/3 soak, and you're giving up your ally slot. Like, if that's all you're going for, like, you're not getting a whole lot for your buck. So I think if you want to get the most out of the Black Cat, you're going to play him in Dunwich, you're going to play him in
Standalone?
Any standalone would be great. The Forgotten Age would be interesting, because that one, the cultists are when you side with... Who? Akachi? Or not Akachi. Ichitaka, yeah. Like, that's when you get the cultists in the bag. So as long as you either side with Alejandro or strike your own path, which he turns off those elder things, which are pretty bad in the Forgotten Age, if memory serves. That's
in most of the scenarios, yes.
Yeah, like, that's a pretty good include. And yeah, I think as well in the... It's interesting that he isn't as much of a shoo-in for the Dream Eaters.
And part of the reason is that no matter what side you're on, one of those tokens is your positive black cat
exactly
to begin with.
That's so interesting.
So he's already in the story. Don't double up.
Yeah, you get punished for it.
I don't know. I think in general he is scenario specific, which makes him a little hard to work into any campaign to kind of ascertain his overall value. I think standalone, he's great. And, you know, if you've worked out what your chaos bag is going to look like ahead of time, like I didn't, he's probably a lot better.
I think, like some similar effects in the game, I think Black Cat also suffers from, like, whenever the power of a card is coming from affecting the bag probability, it's really hard to like feel that on a visceral level when you're playing the game compared to some big flashy effect like Delilah or something where you're plunking damage on an enemy. But like the Black Cat may be subtly winning the game for you by like shifting the bag probability in your favor, but you might not like notice or feel it because it just kind of happens like behind the scenes. And
Right, yeah.
Like any cat.
Yeah.
Last thing to point out is if you're playing well prepared, this guy's an unexpected courage repeatedly, so that's pretty good. Wild icons included.
I prepared my cat.
Though I do think that my first Jacqueline build, I don't know. Have you guys decided, this is a weird aside now that we're kind of at the end of this card review, for the starter decks that are going to be coming out, have you decided whether you're actually going to just like play it as is and work just from those upgrades, or are you just going to completely go out of the box and treat it like a normal expansion?
I think I'm going to try it. I think I'm going to try them each, maybe at least a couple of them, as they're packaged, just because I want to see what that experience is like. And I think I mentioned this before. I'm actually tempted, as insane as this feels like, I'm tempted to buy 2 of each and save my second copy of each just for when I'm playing with other people. Just to like be like, here you go, like pick one of these 5. These are intended to like ease you into this class and teach you about the identity and everything about that. So
yeah, I'm actually planning on buying 2 for that reason. Yeah, but I do for myself want to try out. I just want to see how they play as a deck before I tear them apart and do my own thing.
Right.
I don't know. The Black Cat might be making the reason I brought it up is I'm like the first Jacqueline build I make, the Black Cat's probably making it in there because that seems pretty good.
I mean, to be fair, half of the cards in Cho's deck I'm going to rip out of Cho and never use them with Cho. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to go into other Guardians, so... But I am interested to see how those decks play just on their own.
Excellent. So, now that we're done with the player cards, let's move to the scenario where the gods dwell. I have thoughts.
I too have thoughts.
So storyline wise, you either get carried to the cold wastes or you travel to the cold wastes yourself. But either way, you find yourself. Oh yeah, sorry. Spoiler alert for the where the gods dwell. Just so someone said it.
I was surprised to see that there wasn't more of a mechanical result of whether you travel or get carried there. I guess maybe just previous campaigns have conditioned me to think like, oh no, like I'm not going to this place of my own accord. That means there's going to be some sort of mechanical drawback to that. But there's nothing in this, which was surprising.
Yeah, I mean, the map is so small in both parts of it anyway. I don't know, like, maybe starting in a different location would have made sense? Or something.
Yeah, I think in general, I'd have to look back through it again, but I played it quite a few times. I feel like Dream Eater's campaign in general has felt pretty forgiving in terms of if you fail a certain scenario, it doesn't seem to hurt you too much compared to some past campaigns. And I think this is another example of that.
So moving into the scenario itself, so first thing is to get into the Onyx Castle with a quick stop off in a monastery.
Gotta go beat up a priest.
As you do.
Yeah, you do. So what do you guys think of the priest as kind of a mini-boss?
I liked the additional objective, that if you do those 2 things, you just defeat him. I like that was included because in the one time I played this, which was with, again, Wendy and Men, that was what I ended up doing was solving those 2 side things and then just kicking them to the curb. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do like alternate ways of taking care of enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was interesting. I feel like there wasn't like crazy things about him that were like whoa, but boy, that was a really dude bro sentence.
There were there were not crazy things about him that went whoa. I'm getting to him real quick on Arkham DB so I can remind myself of what his game text actually. I think most of his game text was...
I'm so ashamed of that sentence now. I'm gonna go hide in the corner.
That should have been his flavor text.
Let's see. Yeah, most of his text box is taken up just by the ability, the alternate objective. He doesn't make attacks of opportunity, which is super nice because I think with I used that to get actually stuff out while I was at his location. But yeah, I mean, otherwise he's really not that much of a problem overall, I guess. He's actually worse for you to fight. Like, he's harder for you to fight legit than he is for you to just do the two tests.
Yeah. Like you guys have said, I really like the alternate ways, and it feels very flavorful, like maneuvering him into position and taking him out that way. Through the moon door, as it were.
Or the Rancor pit.
But I feel like the main purpose of the High Priest in this is just taking up your valuable time in this scenario.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about this soon, I'm sure. In a scenario that has a very, very tight doom clock, like, the High Priest is just soaking up valuable time more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so once you deal with the High Priest and move into the tower itself, pretty cool story beat. I really like, we talked about this with Matt when he was on, I really like that story beat where like this whole thing is building up so that you can have audience with the gods and the place is derelict. Like, it's just kind of, it's such a cool Lovecrafty anticlimax. But mechanically, once you get into the tower, that's when Nyarlathotep and probably the best use of the peril keyword to date comes in.
I would agree.
It's
definitely
pretty great. I will be very, very interested to see what we come up with to metagame once we get around to Iron Manning this thing.
Yeah, as far as communication.
Yeah, because that's the thing, is like, okay, so we get peril, we get why like peril came about, and it's been used to great effect for some moments where like checking with the team would be really advantageous, so shut up, you figure this out on your own. The ability to have to put together these pieces without talking about it, like, peril is sacred. We're going to have to figure out a way.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to be very comfortable with how cheesy it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I won't accept large amounts of cheese in this regard.
In all other regards, but not this one.
Yes.
So before we get entirely into that, real quick, I just want to backpedal to the Onyx Gates and the 12 clues, because I played the standalone, and in standalone you don't have any evidence of Kadath.
Oof.
So when I revealed this, I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, how? Like, it's not even like 5 per investigator; it's just straight 12. Just there's 12 here. Have fun getting them. And I had Min and Wendy, so I was able to get them off. It took me a while. But yeah, like, God, if you're not pulling your weight in the earlier part of the campaign, then there's going to be a lot of clues here for you to suck up pretty quickly.
It's totally okay that it took you a while, because this scenario gives you plenty of time.
I've found generally it's been okay. I didn't even think about standalone, but usually I think most of that evidence comes from Search for Kadath, or maybe all of it. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, a lot of it does. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think most of my campaigns there's only like 1 or 2 clues on this thing. So it was
nice.
So that felt fairly manageable. But yeah, I could see how that would be a big. Yeah, I feel like the early part of the scenario is just a lot of things that are throwing hurdles in your way as you're trying to go at some fast speed so you can have enough time in the ending. But although I will soon have some things to share about the scenario that don't make me happy. I want to start by saying something that does make me happy, which is this is kind of the climax of one of the campaigns. It's the final scenario of the dream side. And this is the first time... Yeah, this is really the first time I'd say that we see kind of a final boss that's not just a straight ahead fight in a way. Like, I know if you're doing Doubt, you're kind of defeating Haster in a different way in Carcosa, and you might not even face a boss at all at the end of Dunwich Legacy. But I just appreciate the kind of boss design in this, that basically you have to get these right forms in your hand, and then you're doing these tests at the right location to get rid of that particular form. So that design is just a cool, different way to handle a boss, I think, where it doesn't feel as tangible, like you're punching a elder thing, ancient one in the face, but you're trying to pull off some trickery to make it happen.
Yeah. I do like how this really took the whole hidden card thing into play, like how that's like the crux of this, or the climax of this scenario. Like, that was really fun. The whole dig through the encounter deck, pull hidden cards, that sort of thing. The only downside was then when it came time for me to test, Min had like 3 other hidden cards in her hand that were all preventing her from committing certain cards to tests. And I'm like, like to me, that was where I felt the most time crunch, was in the final act of this, or not the final act, but you know what I mean? That like final big stretch of the scenario. That was where I was the most because I had to spend actions to get rid of these cards, and I had to spend actions to switch hidden cards between characters, and yada yada yada, and that was when I was really strapped for time.
Yeah. And I think the hidden aspect, like the design still it works pretty cool as far as like what you actually have to do to defeat the boss in true solo. But this is where we get to the part that I struggle with this scenario in true solo is the doom clock is just too tight. I think it needs to be more, because my problem is in true solo, basically this scenario comes down to you need to draw the right cards from the encounter deck into your hand. You have to get enough of the big bad forms in your hand, and then the right cards to get rid of him. And you're just dependent on the counter deck. Like, I know there is, I can't remember the exact text, but there's a way to get some cards off. I think it's by spending clues. But even with that, because the encounter deck is kind of chunky for this scenario, there's a lot there. So you can, like my solo Finn had pretty much a fairly quick run through of this scenario, and was pretty much hitting the test he needed to, and I lost. And it was because the last form I needed, it was like the second from bottom card and then counter deck. And it's what do I do at that point? Like, there's no way to really account for that. And I guess that's my gripe with that particular part. I feel like this design works best in multiplayer.
It's almost like it's a multiplayer.
I was surprised that there wasn't a scaler on the number, to go back to kind of what you were saying, I was surprised that there wasn't a scaler on the number of cards you pull. Almost like what happened with Jazz Mulligan in Dunwich. Like, that's a little different because you're looking for one specific card, so it would make sense to be a little more lax with it. But even in this, we're looking for multiple cards, but we're also looking for specific combinations of those multiple cards. So it would have been nice to have some sort of little bit of leeway there. Or even make, when I flipped to Agenda 3 and I saw it had 5 Doom, I was like, well, fuck me, I guess. Like, this isn't possible. Like, I thought for sure it would have been, a 7 or something. But no, 5 rounds. And then you have cultists that are pulling Doom, too. Like, I think I had a Wizard of the Order out as well that was still hanging out in the plateau, and I was like, you can stay there, man. I'm not running back there to get those 2 Doom off of you. I'm just gonna Doom out.
He's like, thanks, I will.
Yeah, exactly. He was totally happy. Yeah, he was fine. He was chilling, I was chilling. Yeah. So...
I like indignant Wizard of the Order.
Just sitting on a recliner, just watching TV.
All right, you just stay out there. Maybe I will.
Every so often he lights another candle.
As you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree on the scaler. I'm looking at it now. Yeah, it's spend 1 clue to look at the top 3 cards of the encounter deck. I think there should have been that clause of like top 6 or something, or top 8 if there's only 1 investigator. And then yeah, I think 5 on the last is too low. I think even if it was 7 or 8, it would have been a bit more manageable.
I do think, though, that this will play easier in 4-player. I did have one really cool moment that I was very happy with, is that Wendy waylaid the Dole of the Wastes, which was really fun.
That is the coolest sentence I've heard today.
Like, she evaded this huge evil worm creature and then, like, beat the shit out of it while it was lying there. That was so fun.
Is
so
it
fun
over?
to do.
Man, that Dole of the Waste is my absolute nemesis in this scenario. Like, my first 4 campaigns that I ran all lost in Where the Gods Dwell. And I think I would attribute 3 of them to frickin' Dole of the Waste. Because I kept drawing it as either the second or third card. Or like the second or third draw. And 6 health to chew through, so I would evade it, which is fine. It's 2 evade. But then the map is so small, it just keeps coming back and coming back and coming back and soaking your actions. And then next thing you know, you've lost because you ran out of actions.
Yeah, I feel like this one just... I've yet to play it in 4-player, so this remains an untested theory. But I feel like the scaling on this one just got really tough on the lower player counts. Because even two-handed, I've played this two-handed 4 times now, and still just run out of time every time. And like, it's the sort of thing where it takes me like kind of by surprise, because by my normal sensibilities for what a healthy pace feels like, every game it feels like, hey, I'm doing well. And then suddenly I'm out of time, and I'm like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And that has been my experience every time. So
no, and
we'll see 3-4 player.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying that out and strategizing that for Iron Man, because that's going to be the big strategy point, I think, is having crazy charts figuring out how to do this. But yeah, I feel like it will be more manageable 3-4 player. Even two-handed. I finally had to bring out Wendy and Zoe duo, which is usually the duo I bring out when I get mad and need to smash a campaign. And they finally got me
Team beat 'em up.
They finally got me the victory against this scenario, but even then it was the last action of the last turn, basically.
Wendy and Zoe come out like, is this a scenario that hit you?
Get him.
Show us on the doll where it hurt you.
Everywhere.
Show us on Mr. Potterson where it hurt you. Damn it. It was so close. I just needed to take the extra step. All right.
So differently from you, like, aside from you guys, I actually came away from this scenario pretty positive. I actually really enjoyed it. Again, I played it once. Sean?
Yep.
Oh, okay. You started to say something, then you either cut out or you stopped. I assumed you stopped.
Both, actually. Carry on.
Okay. No, I only played it the one time, and I was running, again, granted I was running, there were only 6 experienced decks, but Wendy and Min, and like I said, they handled everything with just the right amount of, like, power to where I still felt like I was mostly in control the whole time. It was literally just that end. Like, it was probably the last, and it really was. It was like that last round that just sneaked up on me, and I was like, oh, wow, yeah, just like you said, Sean, like, I didn't realize that I was out of time until I was already done. But I felt like I was really close to finishing, because I had 2 of the Nyarlathoteps in the victory display. So I was on my way to getting the 3rd one, and then I just ran out of time.
It just kind of feels like when a really good party ends early.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, you said you were positive, kind of maybe in contrast to us. I actually really like this scenario. There's a lot of cool things going on here. It's just, I found it frustrating, and again, 3-4 player may change. I found it frustrating to feel like, all right, I'm figuring it out. I'm doing well. My pace is and I'm out of time.
Yeah.
I think that if I did, like, if and when I do play it more often, if I run into that same issue every single time, then I could totally see myself being, like,
Just
frustrated
house
with
rule
this.
it.
Yeah, well, I could just see myself being frustrated with the scenario in general. Whereas after this one, I walked away going, like, yeah, I lost, but I lose a lot of scenarios I play. Like, that's fine. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Mr. Standalone. I feel, you know what's interesting is I've found that losses hit harder when you're in a campaign, when there's like, particularly later in a campaign, which is perhaps why Where Doom Awaits got me so salty back in the day, to have so much invested and just be like,
And it's gone.
and it's gone.
Yeah, I feel similarly to Sean, where overall I like a lot about the design. It's just that last tight Doom clock that is a little bit... Like, I'm used to the final scenarios being generally tough for the most part, especially... Well, mostly in True Solo, especially. But I don't necessarily have a problem with tough. It's more so like those situations where you're reliant on a card coming from the encounter deck, and that doesn't feel good when it's like, well, there's nothing I can do on my side really to affect where it's at in the encounter deck. And so I lost because of my shuffle basically at the beginning of the scenario. That's when it feels like I'm almost tempted to put a house rule in this scenario or something, but then I feel weird about doing that. But I don't know. Maybe we'll get an errata or something. We'll see.
Right. The errata will change Agenda 3 to 4 Doom.
I'll show them.
You guys, don't complain next time.
Keep complaining and it'll be 3. But then I have not played the version of the scenario where there's a final form of the big boss.
Yes! Oh
because
my god.
I have no idea how you would have time to do that, because if I remember correctly, you don't get more time to fight the final form.
No.
Nope.
Oof. I don't know how you would have time, because I can't. I'll have to look up the text, but from what I remember, like, it gets a crazy amount of health, depending on a few different
look
factors.
At it right now.
Yeah,
I've got it up.
cool.
So each copy of Nyarlathotep combines to form a single enemy. It becomes Voltron Nyarlathotep. Fight evade values equal to the highest among the copies. Health damage horror equal to the total combined health of all the ones that you have, and all of the keywords of the ones you have.
So how are you supposed to chew through that much health in that little time? I don't know.
My favorite part of this act, though, is this is game text. Spawn this monstrosity in the Great Hall.
Oh, man. I mean, I guess I'm going to have to try it for completion's sake at some point, but I don't know.
That's
how the heck to pull
like
that off.
forging your own path, turning back time for TFA. I still haven't legitimately beaten Turn Back Time.
Yeah, me either.
I haven't even tried it yet.
I don't think I've played Forgotten Age since Iron Man, to be honest.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I need to get back to it at some point. Well, when Return comes out. But yeah. One thing before I forget, one hot tech that was brought up by someone in our Discord, I wish I could remember for credit, and then I think other people have discovered it too, is On the Hunt is a little bit of tech for the final part, if you can access it. Because On the Hunt will search and immediately spawn one of the forms, and then you can just kill it straight up conventionally. Which I have done that. I forgot what investigator I was playing, but yep, it works.
It overrides spawn text. Oh shit, that is sick tech.
Yep.
Damn. Okay. All right. I dig. All right. Well, I'll be playing that next time I try to actually. Do
Yeah,
this
really.
Oh yeah, Zoe. That's who I used it with. Yep, I use On the Hunt to pull with Zoe. Yep.
Color me surprised. So then, as far as resolutions go, I'm actually very intimately familiar with these resolutions. I've recorded all of them very recently. You get... I mean, so basically, the first one is you get defeated, you can escape, you can kind of defeat Nyarlathotep, then you can really defeat Nyarlathotep. It's... I don't know. I really like the end of this scenario. I think it's a really cool kind of anticlimax to, I guess, pivoting to a boss fight of the Dream Quest is kind of the more light in tone of the scenarios, right? Like the Waking Side is way more depressing from a thematic standpoint.
It feels more dire there, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
This is like, we're going on a ship ride, and the Waking Side is like, there's spiders everywhere, and I don't know what's happening.
Why is this thing so big? There are so many stairs. What?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I like the choices that you get in the resolution. Like, the fact that you can then move on, and it's basically like, pick one of these things. You can either wake up, you can just hang out here forever, I guess, or you can
that's right.
see what the other side is doing and start going down.
It gives you the red pill, blue pill choice.
Yeah. But I like the idea that it's like, I have to read it exactly now. Because, of course, in the show notes I just recorded it as down we go. But it's, venture into the underworld to find your companions. And even though I haven't played Weaver of Cosmos yet, and I haven't read any of the stuff in the inserts, I'm interested to see what, if anything, that does for that scenario.
It doesn't do anything for that scenario. It does something for the epilogue.
Oh, sure. That makes sense.
So basically, yeah, I mean the ultimate resolution between the 8-part campaign, or the two 4-part campaigns.
Yep.
To 8.
I'm sure
Depending on how you play.
we'll talk about it in detail in the Weaver episode, but yeah, the way everything is weaved together at the end between the two campaigns is nice, but it's I'll spoil one thing, that it's so complicated there's a chart involved.
I was so shocked when I pulled out the second handout in the Weaver of Cosmos. I was like, what?
When I opened that blister pack, I'm like, oh, this insert is fat.
Yeah. Thick.
Extra thick. With 2 C's.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like you do.
That's how you know it's
As
serious.
you do. All right, any closing thoughts on Where the Gods Dwell?
I like it. I'm looking forward to never playing it again. So that I can maintain that.
I'm looking forward to 3 or 4 player to see how my perspective shifts.
Also, this is I'm in the middle of my first 8-part campaign, running all the way through everything since it all released. Thing is, like, Mandy and Patrice have been doing fine. They're not... Of all the words I could use to describe this combo, really fucking fast are not words I would use. So it's probably not going to go well.
Yeah.
But anyway. Okay, so guys, let's move it on then to a little bit of tentacle time. Nick, what's been grabbing you lately?
As I'm sure many of us have, the COVID, isolation bit has caused me to spend some more money on games. So I have recently purchased a number of games, none of them new, all of them old, because that way I can get more of them for the same price. So I've picked up Divinity Original Sin 2 on the PlayStation. I picked up a few RPGs on Steam. But the one that I've been pouring the most time into is I've gone back to Dark Souls. I actually picked up the remastered version, which I did not get yet, or I have not had before. So I picked that up. And I have been chewing through that game pretty quickly, like faster than I ever did before. I just got to the Painted World of Ariamis. So, I mean, like, the Capra Demon hung me up for a couple of, like 2 or 3 days. But I've been playing it, that's normal, though. But I've been playing it about an hour, maybe an hour and a half every couple days. And yeah, I'm in Anor Londo now. I forgot how short Sen's Fortress is, like if you just beeline it to the boss.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's just like a single run, isn't it?
Essentially, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I
still have yet to get there myself because I got sidetracked with Dark Souls 3 because I couldn't be bothered to play them in the right order.
I mean, that's fine. This is super fun. My build right now is I'm doing Elite Knight Armor, Kite Shield. Like, I just did, like, the early game build, and I'm just upgrading that shit for now. But Elite Knight Armor, Kite Shield, Gargoyles, Halberd is my main weapon, and then my off weapon is the Estoc, because I love the parrying and the quick jabs with the Estoc. That's really nice. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's Dark Souls. I don't have anything new to say about it. You know what I mean? Like, everybody knows what Dark Souls is like. Super fun.
And yet we continue to attempt it.
And yet and you know what? It makes me want to go back and play Bloodborne again. So I might be starting my 5th playthrough of Bloodborne.
Dude, you gotta get that platinum.
I don't have to get the platinum, Sean.
Just get it with me.
I don't. Don't you have it already?
Yeah.
Well,
just with me.
Like, that's the thing. Like, of the people that we know who play Bloodborne, I think I'm the one who doesn't have platinum, but I also haven't played.
You're the one who's like responsible for all of the other people we know who are into Bloodborne, man.
I couldn't be happier that you all have exceeded my commitment to that game.
You'd be happier if you had the platinum, though.
Would I though? Or would I?
I don't
really?
know, man. I don't know. Fighting the amygdala in the defiled chalice dungeon made me want to buy blood, because I own it downloadable. It's just straight on my hard drive. I wanted to buy Bloodborne as a disc just so I could crack it.
Like, the thought of doing more chalice dungeons, and I've only done like a third of them. Like, the thought of doing more makes me not want to play Bloodborne. Like, I do not like the chalice dungeons.
They don't get good until the end. Like,
that's
Laron
exactly it.
And Ease are both really good, but they're the last two.
Yeah. And, like, fuck the defiled ones or whatever they are, the ones that you go in cursed. Like, no.
Yeah, just like, hey, you know what's a fun mechanic? Take away half your health, have fun.
Yeah. So
it's dumb.
No, but I am enjoying Dark Souls. Really loving it. But that's not surprising because that game's amazing.
Ian's in the back on the whiteboard wiping away and writing 0 days. Someone mentioned Bloodborne on the podcast.
Accurate.
Also,
we'll get you eventually, Ian.
I am super excited for the Demon Souls remaster that is coming on PS5.
We got to play that shit together.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. Dude, here's the thing.
Let's have a LAN weekend!
If they maintain the original online systems of Demon Souls, it's going to be so convoluted and backwards and just dumb to try and get people. Like, it wasn't until Bloodborne that they actually made it where you could easily play with people you wanted to play with. And Demon Souls is the hardest one out of all of them because there's world tendency. And no, it is, because it's literally just go to your network connections, set a password, and now you can only pair with people who have that same password. Like, it's so easy. You know what I mean? Like, it's not easy in today's standards of multiplayer gaming, but it's easy from software's standards. Compared
to Demon Souls, yes.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I'm really excited for the Demon Souls remake because I love that original game. And that was one that I kept going back to over and over and over again, but I never really got very far in it. But that was the one that started my whole love of From Software, as it did with a lot of people. So, anyway, that's me. Dark Souls and other games. So.
Ian, what's been grabbing you?
Oh, well, similar to Nick, I've also been spending money during quarantine time and buying more games, even though I rarely play Beyond Arkham and the usual suspects. Although I feel like I've been
There's a Beyond Arkham?
I feel like I've been pretty good lately about rotating games in, but it's more like getting repeat plays. That's the trick. But I did pick up a couple games recently. One is Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion, which is... I think it can be either, like, if you already have Gloomhaven, which I don't, it can be an expansion to that, but it's also kind of like an introductory version that's sold at Target right now. And I just started playing the first scenario last night, so I'll probably talk more about it in a future episode once I actually get to experience it. But I'll say the production is really cool. It's kind of like a beginner product, even though it's a complex game. Like, there's actually, like, a token tray included and a card tray included. There's a whole, like, sheet that tells you, here's how you organize all your components in a step-by-step. Like, it's all these things that I rarely see in board games that I think is pretty cool and smart. And
quality of life improvement.
Yes, that I wish more games would do. So they even provide you with all the little plastic baggies you need for counters and, like, sort the things. Now place each monster type in their own baggie and et cetera, et cetera. So,
oh, what a civilized world.
Yes.
I bought one game that came with more bags than it had components, and I was like, thank you!
Yep.
It's such a small thing, but it means so much.
Thank you.
Like, yeah, crying in this tiny little box, yeah.
The other game, which was kind of unexpected, I just heard about it recently, was a Godzilla game, Godzilla Tokyo Clash it's called. And I got it because my son is firmly in a Godzilla phase right now, and he also loves board games, so even though...
The finest phase of any young boy's life.
It looked a little bit on the complex side, but he's been playing board games for a while, so I figured he could handle it with help, which he did. So I got that, and we played, and oh my god, I was surprised. Like, sometimes you get a game to play with your kid, and you don't know how good it's going to be. But it surprised me so much. I was like, wow, this is actually a well-designed and fun... Like, I would totally play this with all kinds of people. Probably the best kaiju board game I've played. It really captures that. Because, okay, so first off, you get an individual deck for whoever you pick, like Godzilla or King Ghidorah, whoever. So, all right, you've got me already. It's a card-driven game. There's no dice. It's all card-driven. You get your personalized deck of however many cards that have your special actions and moves. There's like a map that's randomly generated each time of Tokyo. A key part of the game is throwing vehicles at buildings or other kaiju, or you can pick up kaiju and throw them at other stuff. Like, you have all this total freedom of where to throw stuff. And one of the things I appreciate is just how they integrated, like, kaiju destruction into the resource system. So you have your deck of cards. They each have an energy cost, as you might expect. But the way you get energy to play cards is by destroying buildings. So each building gives you a certain amount of energy or vehicle. And so as you destroy a building, that's going to ramp up your energy, and then you use that energy to play your cards to attack the other kaiju.
Oh, nice.
Which is a smart system, I think. And then the other smart thing they did, too, is there's not player elimination, so it's not like you might expect where you do a certain amount of damage until the other kaiju is dead. It's more... each time you do damage, let's say you do 4 damage, and the other kaiju defends for, like, 2... So 2 damage is how many cards you take from their deck, and then each card in the deck also has like kind of a victory point cost on it. So you take that, the highest cost victory point you find, and then whoever has the most victory points at the end is the winner. So it's more about like wrecking shop and getting these victory points, but a player doesn't get eliminated, which I think is a cool way to handle it. And it also it goes... Oh, the other cool... There's so many cool mechanics. I really love this game. The other thing is...
Well, this is not where I expected to go tonight, but please, take us further down the lane.
The game ends. I also appreciate games that have, like, don't drag out, so it plays at a pretty good clip because there's, like, an oxygen bomb that's going to get deployed to end the game. And so that ticks down to put a cap. So maybe a game will last, like, 4 or 5 rounds, and you kind of go back and forth taking actions. But the nice thing is each like little building you destroy on the board goes on that track, so it also shortens the amount of time. So you get energy, but you might also shorten the timer because you're causing more destruction, which is going to make them deploy the bomb more quickly. So
that's really cool. I like that.
Yeah. So it might be a game you just pass over, but it's in Target. It's not solo, but it's 2 to 4 players. But I highly recommend people pick it up because it's a very cool game, and I hope they do expansions and stuff in the future because I think it's worth it.
Fun. Oh man, Nick, you remember the Godzilla phase you and I had? We actually like got the toys, and we had the... You remember the little I don't even know what to call them. They were like Polly Pockets for dudes, but they were Godzilla and Ghidorah heads.
Yeah, they're like the little thing that you open them up and it had like the minis. Yeah, I remember those.
Oh god, those were so... we grew up in like the best time to collect things.
There was so many weird things. Like that was back in the stage when I would just see a cool toy that I would have no idea what franchise or series or whatever it belonged to, and I would just get that. You know what I mean? Like it was a short period of my life, but that was when I was just like, this is cool. Like, oh, this dude has a gun. Oh, that thing comes with a vehicle. What is this? It changes. Okay, like whatever. This one changes color. So.
I'm fairly certain I owned no fewer than 10 Ninja Turtles before I ever saw an episode.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, good times. Anyway, I suppose for my part, I've been, like, this came out of left field, so as everyone is kind of doing right now, I'm watching a lot of TV. So it's kind of been our ritual in the last little while to just kind of turn something on in the background while, like, my wife is crocheting or someone's making dinner, and we're just kind of all in the common area. So we finished the Marvel Cinematic Universe watch through, and then kind of more or less randomly, I was on HBO and I saw, I just got on a Batman kick. So I watched Batman.
Like Michael Keaton, 1980, whatever?
Like Batman. Yeah, like Batman.
Did it hold up?
If you go into it with realistic expectations, yes.
Sure. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Those movies get increasingly campy.
Oh, yeah.
And at different turns, they do it intentionally and sometimes not intentionally. Mm-hmm. So to watch that whole, like, the 4 movies that came out prior to Christopher Nolan taking over, to watch those now is kind of a fun ride.
Yeah.
And because to think about how many years elapsed between their release actually back in the day.
Sure.
Like, I guess now that I think about it, it was 4 movies in 10 years. That's actually pretty...
That's standard.
That's pretty
That's
good,
actually pretty quick, yeah.
But, you know, they were the 10 years that I was becoming 10, so those years,
so
those
felt
years
longer.
kind of seemed a lot bigger. Anyway, Batman 1 is fun. There are some odd parts in it. Jack Nicholson's still pretty good. Like, he goes wide enough with that character that it makes it fun. Batman Returns. I now know why my latex thing is a thing. I'm kidding. But Catwoman's great. I certainly don't mind Catwoman in that movie. But that one is just so bloody Tim Burton.
Yes.
It's so unbelievably Tim Burton. Mm-hmm. Down to, oh, hey, Catwoman should be like a dominatrix. That'd be fun.
I feel like that's the one I remember the least, so I need to watch that one at least.
Really?
That's the one I remember
why.
the most.
Yep, same. I feel like the marketing push hit for that right when I was getting into Batman.
Yeah.
And I think that one was rated... Was that rated R or was that rated PG-13?
No, it was PG-13. There's when I think of like Batman from my childhood, the 2 things I think of are that and the animated series.
The animated series. Yep. So, anyway, we got through to Batman Forever, and oh boy, Batman Forever is a really fun train wreck.
Is Batman's Forever the Joel Schumacher one, right?
It's the first Joel Schumacher one.
Oh, the third one.
Yeah, yep, with Val Kilmer and the Riddler and Two-Face. It's kind of all over the fucking place.
Yeah, that one I barely remember.
But I remember it more for its action figures more than anything else.
Right,
That's just where I was at the time. However, Batman and Robin,
oh boy.
If you go into it just being in a place where you can accept and love a campy as shit, overacted, wide as hell movie, oh god, that thing's good. You have to be in a very specific place, but if you can get there, it's great.
Requires 30 minutes of meditation beforehand.
You know what killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
Yeah, see, that one I remember clearly.
Sure.
Part 3, yeah, I have barely any memory of that one other than Tommy Lee Jones.
He is the best part of that movie. Jim
really?
Carrey's good, but he's just being Jim Carrey.
Yeah, that's true.
Watching this, this most recent time, I have an appreciation for how silly and wide Tommy Lee Jones was actually able to get with that character. And it's not like his best performance ever, but he kind of makes it work within the context of that really weird movie. So props to him for it. Anyway, and then on the back of all of that, I just couldn't... Like, I had downloaded the remaster of Arkham Asylum and Arkham City a while back when they were on sale because, why not? I might want them someday. I say to the 80 games sitting in my library that I've never even opened. But this one I did open, so I'm into Arkham City now, and goddamn, those are just like... Oh, they're so good for actually offering you the experience of being Batman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I played the first one, and then I was kind of like, yeah, I'm done. Like,
really?
I got what I wanted. It was a really, really good Batman game, and I don't need any more than that. You know what I mean? So I never touched any of the sequels.
Yeah, I played the first two, I think. I left off at the third one I still need to play. But yeah, I really love those games.
Mm-hmm.
Second
Other than Joker hulking out at the end, I really liked pretty much everything about the first one.
Yeah, they could have gone maybe a little bit more elegant on the final boss fight, but I guess I get it. The funny part is, like, that whole combat system, they could have come up with a really cool... It would have been a weird stretch in the theme. They could have come up with a really cool way to make Joker kind of an interesting, like, duel within that counter-play combat system. Because actually some of the DLC for that first game, you actually play as the Joker, and he has his own moveset and, like, does his own counters. And
I don't think I ever did the DLC, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of wild and all over the place to see Joker like do all this like really elaborate hand-to-hand combat, but the animations are actually really good and it kind of feels pretty in character. So I don't know. Anyway,
I do appreciate those games though because they led us to Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is one of my favorite games of the PlayStation.
Still need to play it.
Oh, it's so good.
I mean, I've played it at Sean's house, but I need to actually buy it and play through it.
That's one of the few games that I 100%ed, and then when I was done, I was straight up like upset that I was done.
Play more.
Yeah, like, are you telling me they only made 3 pretty good pieces of DLC for this? Like, where's numbers 4, 5, 6, and 7? Like, come on.
Oh, yeah, great game. Well, so yeah,
I'll say that it took us 80 plus episodes, but we finally made it a Batman podcast.
The Batman episode.
Now that random listener is going to tune in during this segment and be like, "Oh, it is a Batman podcast."
Yeah, and make it 2 hours in to get to this portion.
It's a very specific place to fast forward to, but.
He's bringing it to his other Batman friends. I swear to God, guys, it gets good. It gets good.
Just give it time. If you're in the right frame of mind.
If you're in the mood for a really shitty podcast. All right. Well, I suppose that's as good of a digression as one could hope for to end the podcast. So if you haven't already, join our Discord. Check out Farcom Con, because, guys, it's going to be lit. I'm so bloody excited for how well everyone has hopped on, and like I'm just so excited to actually, we've got our own things going on, but to like sit in the audience and just be a part of it too. Like, I'm super looking forward to that.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, check that out if you haven't already. And as always, we will see you next time on episode 87 before Farcom. So get ready. Bye.
Bye.